my name is Ken, and I'm a bus driver. And my main job is to pick up kids at their proper stop. As a bus driver, we have a list of a bus route where all the kids get picked up. And we have to stop at every stop and make sure that every kid gets picked up and delivered to the school on time. Sometimes, though, we don't get to the school on time. Why is that? Well, sometimes the weather. If it's wintry roads and slippery, sometimes we have to drive according to the conditions of the roads, which means that the kids don't get to school on time, or it could be traffic or other reasons. One of my main jobs as a bus driver is to make sure that the kids get on the bus properly. This means holding that guardrail on the side where the steps are and coming up the steps properly. Some kids, because they're small and their backpack weighs heavier than the kids, they need to hang on to that handrail so they don't fall backwards and injure themselves. My job is also to make sure that the kids sit properly on the bus, face forward, so that way they don't get hurt in case the bus driver has to apply their brakes. They don't lunge forward and injure themselves or fall off the seat. Kids often ask me why it's not proper, why they can't eat or drink on the bus. Well, there are several reasons why a child shouldn't eat or drink on the bus. Although some do, the reason why you shouldn't is because one of the main reasons is food allergies, such as peanuts. Some people are allergic to certain foods. So if you eat something that someone else is allergic to, they can get very, very sick. Another reason why is because the roads aren't always smooth, and sometimes if you hit a bump and you're eating something, that piece of food can get enlarged in your throat, and now you're choking. And so now the bus has to come to a complete stop, and of course now we have to call the emergency paramedics, and of course now everybody's going to be late. So you don't want to get any food lodged in the back of your throat, and that's the same thing with drinking. If we're drinking something and we hit a bump, we could actually choke, or we could actually almost drown because of that water going into our throat not properly. So we want to make sure that we don't eat or drink on the bus. It also causes a mess, and now the bus driver has to clean up your litter. So you don't want to cause extra work for anybody else. A bus driver, there's many things that a bus driver has to watch for all at the same time, especially when he's coming to a stop. A bus driver has to always be looking for traffic. Before the bus driver can allow the kids on the bus, about 10 seconds before the stop, he has to initiate his overhead lights, checking for traffic from both ways. Once the driver gets to the stop, he has to secure the bus by putting on the emergency brake. Once the door opens, the outside overhead lights will flash, as you can see in the picture. When you see those overhead lights flashing and that stop arm out, everybody must come to a complete stop. When the bus is secure and the driver knows that it's safe for the kids to cross the road and to step on the bus, he will give you the thumbs up. When you see that thumbs up, you know it's safe. Those that don't stop at the stop sign, well, it's a $2,000 fine and 3 points. And I don't think that people want to spend $2,000. So a bus driver has a lot of responsibilities. Now when kids are getting off the bus, that's even a bigger responsibility, because a driver has to see who's coming both ways. And the kids have to, instead of running across the road, they have to walk. The reason why is because if you're running and you got a backpack, you can trip and fall, which now you have created a hazard. So it's always safe to make sure that you see the thumbs up from the driver, and when you're stepping outside of the bus, to make sure you look both ways as if you were crossing the street to make sure it's safe. If it is not safe to do so, The bus driver has the responsibility, if he sees a car coming, to honk that horn. When he honks that horn, you must stop in your tracks. You are not to cross the road until the way is clear. Once the way is clear and the bus driver sees that you are actually on the other side of the sidewalk, then he can proceed forward by releasing the emergency brake, closing the door, and moving the bus forward. I love being a bus driver. There's so much satisfaction in making sure that the kids get to school and home as well. So those are some of the responsibilities as a bus driver. I hope to see you or next year when I drive as a school bus driver.